Bethany Scott here, and welcome to my channel. Today I am just popping in with a quick update. I totally thought I'd be able to do some lives this month. Yeah, well, life has its way and it is what it is. But I, of course, cannot neglect my opening of the Not Too Shabby Paper Pad Club of the Month. I believe this is, yes, okay. So we are into fall sweater weather, cutesy stuff like that. I'm an August baby, so I get a little like sad, I guess, that this means summer is winding down. But now that my kids are like in awe of all of the seasons and the changing of the colors of the leaves and everything, I've embraced it. I'm just going to be honest. And I do love sweater weather, so bring on the cozy. This is so cute. Apple Days. I actually, this weekend, went past a apple orchard. And I was like, I need a plan to stop there in September because that's just what we do around here in Wisconsin. But look at these. Oh, that's so cute. You can make some very nice masculine fall cards with these. Just thinking out loud here. I love the ephemera. I'm going to have to put one of these, at least one of these, through my Scan and Cut. I have to dust off my Scan and Cut, but I love the red of this. Well, it's basically like, I wanted to say cheesecloth. Nope, not cheesecloth. That is definitely a picnic blanket. This is beautiful. That's a little bit more whimsical fantasy. This is cutesy. I like the mix of themes here and styles. The glitter and the plaid again. A little tinier plaid. The patchwork quilt. Ooh, that's cute. Oh my. There's a lot of, and then wood. Red tinted wood. Yay. Okay. So that's a cute one. And then orchard to oven. So that means pies. And we like some good old apple pies around here. It's my hubby's second most requested dessert after cheesecake. Yeah. Love this in the basket. Ooh, yellow apples. Pretty. We've got some green and apple wreaths. That's cute. Larger apples and apple cider. I love me some good apple cider. I make it I try to make it every Thanksgiving. I think I missed a couple, but the green leaves and ooh, that's a pretty apple pattern. We've got the apple branches and apple pies. Yes, bring it on. I think there's pie ephemera in there. Anybody? Then we've got a smaller red plaid and the apple picking trees with ladders. How cute. And then apple baskets and another plaid. Very cute. I love it, Jamie. Yeah, and I'm gonna just tell myself this year I was in the chats on a video and I realized I have not done scrapbooking really since we had our second child, and yeah, I need to scrapbook again. So this is a set I would definitely be using for scrapbooking, for apple picking. I have not done it with my children, but I did it a while back. Have tons of photos from it, just for funsies. And these are so cute. Let's see if I can focus. We've got some apple cider in jars. We've got some apple cider in a cup. And horses. I passed by horses in the pasture just today. They were so pretty. So, I am digging all of these. Ooh, I like the notebook too. It's kind of a chill vibe. Chill and relax vibe. Okay, so I'm not going to go through all of these. These are really, really cute. I'm going to dig through those in a minute and pick my favorites. But I wanted to show the stamp set, the complimentary stamp set, Orchard Days, Sweet as Apple Pie, Hello Apple Season, Sweet Autumn Blessings, picked just for you, so grateful. Yeah, you can use these to pre-make some thank you cards for Thanksgiving or, whatever fall vibe fits your fancy. But that stamp with the pie is so cute. The basket too. I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna have a hard time deciding. Kind of an open book right now. I do need to get mass making on some thank you cards. I have a project that requires a lot of thank you cards. So I'm going to stop filming for a hot second and quickly just decide which thing I'm going to go with, and I will be right back. All right, I believe I've narrowed down what I'm going to play with. First, I am actually going to accomplish my craft roulette card. We'll see if I post this in time for any of you all to get some inspiration. But the parameters were a 4x6 card, so I already have a 4x6 card base cut and trimmed. Then I forget what the second parameter was. I'm going to go out of order. Of course, the colors were buffet, so I have chosen apple buffet as my colors. And the random was bark, and the theme was holiday. So I am picking autumn as my theme. So there we go. So I'm actually going to just be cutesy but simple. I'm going to do a full 4x6 backing, I think. And then what I'll do is I'm going to make a belly band to break up the bark or wood. So let me grab my trimmer. And this, the inspiration is just kind of flowing, but I'm thinking a lot of belly bandish. I might throw some ribbon in, or I might just use paper as a belly band. So this is 4x6, so I'm just going to cut this directly down to 4 inches. And that should be enough. And then there should be enough of this here. It might be too busy. Let me see. Yeah, I'm going to bring it down just a hair, size-wise. I'm going to bring it down to about an inch, I think. 1.25 inches. Yeah, that seems visually like it will work for what I'm aiming at. As long as I don't move it. There we go. And dropping Post-it notes on myself. My daily reminders. All right, so yeah, that should be cute. And then I'm going to put it not direct center. I'm going to put it in the just a little bit off lower than center, because that'll be like on the table. And then I'm going to go ahead and stamp out my sentiment and trim that down so I have some spare white scrap paper. And I think I'm going to freehand my stamping today because I don't see any stamping tools available. Let's see. Do I want to just say it's Thanksgiving and say so grateful, or sweet autumn blessings? No, we'll keep with that. So the only thing is, because this paper is a smidge not white, I think I might distress with some inks, if I can find my inks fast enough. But right now I have my sweet autumn blessings, and that actually fits perfectly right in this pre-cut thing. Let me grab some ink and be right back. All right, so I have the Stellar ink by Mr. Simon Hurley. I've grabbed some Love Bomb, and you can tell that my children have been in it because there's like little grooves in my pad. Oh, maybe it's not going to pick up, but you could also see how deep the ink is in this pad. So I love Simon Hurley inks. I'm a little nervous that this is not going to be deep enough, but we're going to just freehand and see how I feel. If I hate it, guess what black it is? Nope, I don't hate it. It's a little rustic, so I'm going to keep it. I will blow on it a smidge. I'm going to free cut it. Free cut my imperfectly perfect freehanding straight cut. Not too bad. I trust myself. I just have to practice more. All right, and then I have the Slippery When Wet, which is kind of a yellowish, orangish. I figured tap that out and put it right on the edges, so it's not going to be super matchy with this slightly, I would say it's off-white more than yellowed backdrop on the apples and leaves, but it is enough to break it up a little bit. So I'm going to just do it a little heavier on the edges, and I'm doing it a little streaky just because there's wood grain involved and I don't need to be too swirly and perfect. We're doing a hint of distressed without being over the top. And ooh, yeah, I love it. And then blending down. Perfect. So it's a hint of whimsy and fun. Okay, so next we assemble. Avengers Assemble. My kids actually have gotten into the Avengers because when I told them that Spider-Man was part of the Avengers, they were like, what? Mind blown. So now everything is Avengers, and yeah. I'm here for it. It's my fault. I started it. But it's great because they also laugh at the things that I find funny. And yeah. And of course I have a clogged glue, so bear with me a moment while I unclog that. And we are unclogged, but I have to admit something. I cannot find my regular nozzle. It's stuck on the fine tip because the nozzles that came with my Barely Art set have magically disappeared. They are also hiding with my Tim Holtz replacement blades, which are no longer available online. You can find the scoring blade for the Tim Holtz trimmer that I just used, but you cannot find the cutting blades online, and it's a little frustrating because my blades are dulling, or my blade is dull, I should say, and so not having a trimmer with correctly sharpened blades right now is frustrating me. So, all right, my venting is over. All right, so this is me thinking outside the box for Craft Roulette. This is also going to be only my second submission to Craft Roulette, which I will do off screen. But yeah, I enjoy Craft Roulette watching live as much as possible, but life has it that I generally am team replay, and I'm okay with that. I'm not upset about that, but I definitely love seeing names of friends, online friends, in the comments, so I'm always looking out for you if I can't join you live. So you know what, we're gonna foam tape this up if I can see foam tape within 30 seconds here. And foam tape has been found. So this is actually a thinner foam tape, which makes it nice for still sending these cards out in the mail. I love it. I'm here for the thinner foam tape. Don't get me wrong, I still like my thick foam tape. I really got started on foam tape from the Dollar Tree, actually. And so I am used to foam tape being on the thicker side, but I do need to trim these down, which requires me to find my sticky scissors under my desk. Always have a pair of sticky scissors on standby, and then every so often when they get too gunked up, alcohol wipes, or just straight up alcohol in a rag. However you roll. That's my suggestion. Yeah, those need cleaning soonish, but they're not terrible. And this breaks down the foam tape. I do have foam tape rolls too. Some are thicker, some are thinner. And this is just so cute. And if I had thought ahead, I would have colored one of these apples and added it, but this is card number 1. It is going to be my craft roulette submission. Ta-da! See, I didn't overthink it. I could have easily overthought it. But now here's where we play with things that are not overthought. So now I'm going to go back to my A2 size card bases because that's what I have pre-cut. And I was thinking out loud with this one, pairing the apple cider fixings to the apple cider made, and then breaking it up with our leaves on the other side, and that will be like my belly band. And now I have to decide what direction. You know what? We're gonna just keep everything landscape today. Stick with the theme. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, basically. And we are going to not do full edged edge. We are going to do, let's do a 4-incher by a 5 1/4 sizing. And then this may not be a belly band. I might break it up and just do because it's not stark enough to be a belly band. I may just do it like that. And see what my sentiment looks like. Free-handed, of course. All right, so this one we're going to do with we're going to keep with Sweet Autumn Blessings. I am going to also keep with the sizing and the coloring. Why not? I am going to add a little bit of blending on the actual paper. Give it a little depth and dimension. Oh, I love it, love it, love it. And freehanding once again, as long as I don't lose my scissors. They got buried under a pile almost already. And oops, clicking things. All right, so slippery when wet. We are going to add this to all of the edges, even my ephemera here. Move this so I don't bump it and create an inky mess somewhere else, but we're gonna just bring that slippery when wet color right into the rest of the project, keeping it simple, not overthinking it, just right on the edges. And inking up my fingers, so I'll need a rag in a minute. And actually, I'm gonna make all of this very yellowy. Kind of like it. And right on the edges here, not to get my border, the card base, because the card base will allow a little bit of a border, little white border here, which will make hopefully the rest of it pop. Making sure I'm not leaving fingerprints in the middle. Whoops, I should have thought of that. My bad. All right, and that one I did do a swirling motion, not straight lines like before. Why? Because there's no bark and no straight lines to imitate. So, all right, and then making sure majority of the apples face the visually correct direction. I'm going to start assembling here. And I think this one we'll keep flat. We'll keep completely flat. I'm going to play with depth and dimension on the next one, possibly. Yes, most definitely. All right, so we have that little white border. All right, and then our leaves, I want to face, yeah, that direction's fine. And patterns like this, there really is no right direction. So I'm kind of just visually looking at where it is instead of, you know, going, oh, this is for sure it. So then now we'll place the ephemera here, keeping it visually centered, a little bit above center for the little line. And then I'm gonna do it, let's see, I'm gonna do it a little bit above. Instead of it being like a band behind, I'm gonna do it above that little leaf band. Yeah. And that looks visually appealing, but card number 2 is done. So now card number 3, definitely highlighting the pies on this one, but I want a little bit of, this is the source of the pies. So I feel like pairing the 2 of these will work, but I need to visually figure out how best to highlight these. So I think we're definitely going to cut these down where there's going to be a white border, grabbing another 4x6, an A2 size card base. For those of you who don't know, A2 size card bases are 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And this one I think we're gonna, we're gonna change your sentiment for sure, but I'm overthinking my sizing here. Can you tell? All right, so we're gonna do it where we have 3 inches of pies by 4 3/4. There we go. So we're going to do a thicker border. There we go. And then, am I going to just do it like this? I might make it more patchwork. And I just realized I did it the wrong dimension. Or I did it the wrong direction. Oh my goodness. Well, this might really force my hand to do something a little different. Yeah. All right, so skip those dimensions because I made a mistake. I made a boo-boo. So this is going to now be 3 1/4. I can figure this out mathematically, I promise. My brain just has to wrap around my oops. All right, 3 1/4. Is that slightly thicker? Yes, that is. No, I don't need thicker. Okay, 3 1/4. Ooh, that was more than I thought. We're gonna start over again. Okay, so I want a smaller border. All right, let's go with 3 3/4. 3 3/4 by 3 inches. That's what we're gonna do. Okay, now it visually looks correct. I made sense in my brain. Now I've caught up. All right, now I will do this thicker one. And for those of you who are following the measurements, we have 3 inches by 1.5 inches. There we go. All right, so the assembly of this one will be slightly different. We're going to show our apple pie, we're going to show our orchard, and we're going to show it being cut. And then we are going to put the sentiment at the top, right in the white blank space after we've assembled. So hopefully my aim is really, really good. We're going to do sweet as apple pie right there at the top. And guess what? In case I screw up, I have my white as a backup here. Okay. Now I can assemble and feel happy with my choices. Sorry, I had to talk myself through that one just a smidge extra. Unexpected, but there is logic. Sometimes when you're designing things, just speaking as a designer, you have to talk yourself through certain concepts so that it makes sense to you, so that when you have to translate it to, say, a client who goes, well, why did you choose a circle instead of a square? You can talk them through, okay, so it's, I chose a circle instead of a square because you're bringing your clients full circle in this moment of their selections, yada, yada, That's just how it works in the design world, and so that's kind of how it gets translated sometimes to when I am crafting. I talk my process through, make it make sense, and if it doesn't make sense, I might go, you know what, let's start over. And that's okay. All right, so now my freehanding, I'm a little nervous, but we're gonna survive somehow. I'm gonna wipe some excess ink off first before we try to freehand. And line it up. I am now realizing I have the stamp already upside down, so. And I want it to fill the void, but not overpower the area. So right here visually seems to work. Yes. Okay. Score. Yay. Okay. Card number 2. Complete. Or 3. I can keep track. I promise. I'm really good with numbers. I promise. Okay, so this one, we're going to go back to the belly band concept. Another 4x6 card. So this is card number 4. This one I picked 3 pieces of ephemera, and then I'm going to do the belly band style. This one, let's see if I can fit 3 ephemera. No. So this one, we're going to go portrait instead of landscape. This one I'm going to commit to that. And we're going to do edge to edge once again. So 4 1/4. And keep that by 5 1/2. And that'll be a nice belly band for something else. All right, and then I'm gonna keep the thickness of that belly band. Just be simplistic. And this one will be sentimentless. Why? Because I may turn it into a teacher card, so I don't want to be locked in. I may turn it into a thank you card. Again, don't want to be locked in. I'm kind of thinking teacher, thank you, etc. And yeah, so eventually I will determine what the sentiment is for a later date, depending on, because I always need a stash of grab and goes, not just stuff I sell, but an actual stash. Because go to like things like birthday parties, or you're like, oh my gosh, I need to thank that person, and then you go to grab for something and you don't have something in your own stash, and then you have to shop your for sale items, and then you freak out because you're like, I didn't want to shop my stuff. So this becomes one of those grab and go items that gets stuck there, and we just go with it. And all right, and I'm gonna put the gift on top. I don't know why. I just no cider gift. No, I'm definitely overthinking it. Gift is gonna stay on top because I felt like that was where I was gonna start with, and that's where we're gonna go. No foam tape on this one either, because this one may end up being sent in the mail, and I don't want to lock myself in to extra postage too, if so. All right, and that one, because that one's the only one that's not straight up and down, that one can go in the middle to keep it visually interesting. And that seems to be balanced like that. So there we go. Card number 4. Done. All right, card number 5. This one I had a tough choice with, because I love the balance of this, but I also want a belly band. So we're going to go with not the belly band. Just thinking out loud, grabbing my 4x6 card, we're going to go with portrait. We'll make 2 portrait, 3 landscape, just to keep balance in life. All right, so that means I'm going to cut these differently than I originally thought. I am going to cut this down, let's see, we're going to do 3 3/4 by 4 1/4. So we'll have the thicker edge around. The thicker border around, and then I will use my blending technique on that. And I think we're going to do some elongated stripes. Yes, I'm going to cut this down a smidge more. Thinking the width of this, I'm going to want it about 1.5 inches. That seems appropriate. So, as my trimmer falls apart, speaking of trimmers needing fixing. All right, 1.5 inches. Let's see if I can get my blade back in. All right, 1.5 inches lined up. Great. Perfect. All right, and now that will be saved for another day. And then I need to trim it down. I'm going to keep my white border on the edges. So four and 3/4. Sorry, I had to think that math out loud. 4 3/4. That math still feels weird, but I'm gonna trust the math. Oh yeah, it is wrong. It's 3 3/4. Come on, brain, ketchup mustard. All right, I'm gonna visually go like this. 3.5. Not even 3 3/4. 3.5. All right, brain. Don't mind me. We'll just blame lack of sleep. It is almost school time, so it could also just be that I need to get my body and brain back in school. No, it was 3 3/4. Now I've thoroughly messed this up. All right, just ignore me. I'm going to put it down. I'm going to slap it down. My measurements are all off. I'm overthinking and overcutting too. All right, this one, gonna go as far center as I can. All right, and then we'll do it this side. Right into the middle here. Actually, it's a little under center. Because then what I'll do is I'll put my blooms here. And then I believe the sentiment is so grateful. That's the sentiment we're going with. Because it feels a little cornucopia-ish without being a cornucopia. And I like that. And I'm going to be bold, wild, and crazy. I am going to actually stamp it. Nope. Not going to stamp it into there. I was going to be crazy and stamp it right into that, but no. I am actually going to stamp it in the yellow. In the slippery when wet. Because we're going to cut this one down. And it's going to be hand cut. Fussy cutting. Somehow my straight cut really got wonky, so I'm going to cut a little bit better here. Kind of follow that watercolor look with softer edges instead of hard edges. And obviously then I won't be doing any ink blending like I originally thought. I'm just going to keep it simple. This is going to be right there, so it's going to be a subtle message. It's not big and bold. You know how some sentiments are just so bold and so big and you're like, oh, that's great. I want this one to be just a subtle, sweet. So grateful. I'm going to put this down first, just because I know visually where I want it. And then we'll get this one on foam tape. And it'll just accent the sentiment here. All right. And it's going to just kind of go around that. And I'll tuck a little smidge under. There. All right. Card number 5 complete. All right. So that took a smidge longer just because my math ain't mathin' today. Maybe I've been out of the accounting world for too long. I don't know. 4 months without a job. Did have a job interview. Went well. Said they'd call back, and it's been not a full week yet, but it's been a smidge. So I'm not holding my breath. I am just gonna keep grooving and moving with life, making sales for Mary Kay, selling the stuff we don't use in our house, just trying to make life happen as I can, provide for the kids, keep them busy so they don't drive me bonkers, all that fun stuff. And, you know, summer is winding down. School is just a stone's throw away right now for us. And by the time I post another video, who knows? They may be in school, they may not. I don't know. We'll see how chaotic the week becomes. But I hope you enjoyed this little tete of having fun with Not Too Shabby Shop. I always love opening these boxes, figuring things out, exploring new ideas, and just stepping outside the crafty box. I really, really like a challenge too, especially for craft roulette, expanding my horizons and things that are not always A2 size cards and not always standard easy, straightforward cards. I am one of those people who sometimes you get in a little groove or a rut, and then you kind of go, meh, I don't feel like card making today, or I don't feel like crafting. And thankfully my Cricut has been going most of the summer, so I have not stayed away from crafting. It's just not crafting like I normally do and filming and showing you all the crafty craziness around here. But if I don't end up with a job, maybe I will schedule some lives. Yeah, we'll see. I am in the mode of whatever's gonna happen better be big and great and beautiful, because this is a strange new world for us. But if you like to support our family, as always, links are down below. We have our boutique. My mom makes some really amazing things. Hopefully she starts posting more of them on our site, but they are also on our Facebook page, and local here, of course, in Wisconsin. But I know that, we are really seriously considering turning this from just a hobby of fun things to an actual crafty business. That's just not, right now we're at the point of we make back our money, and it's, it's great. It feels, accomplished and everything, but there's that point where you want to go, well, I could keep doing this and make back the money and just feel like, oh, well, my time was worth it. Or you go, okay, let me make back the money and actually provide for my family. That's one thing about crafty businesses. Some of them are just, they stay at the hobby level and people are happy and satisfied because they have other jobs that keep them busy and stuff. But I'm at the point of, I don't have another job. I have children who keep me busy, and a family that keeps me busy and always has events going on and things. Oh, let's go here, let's go do this, let's go do that. But that's not always the case. And so yeah, just being open to whatever happens next and exploring new adventures as they come. So thank you all for joining me today, and I appreciate your support. For those of you who are new, welcome. I'm sure you'll see kids in the nearest future as they crash my videos and or lives. We'll see. Sometimes they're like, I'm playing on my own, Mom, you go play. And it's like, oh, okay. But we have one that needs constant supervision too. Such is life. But anyways, again, thank you all for joining me. Click links. You don't have to buy. You can just share them with people and support our family that way too. So any of your support and encouragement is greatly appreciated. And yeah, I hope to see you all soon. Have a wonderful day, and don't forget to find the joy in your day. Thanks for watching. Bye.